Hello viewers, good evening. Today in Doctor Talk to Today Talk Show, our guest speaker is a young, very good name lady, रिम झिम. मुझे लगता है कि आज वो आप लोगों के सामने नॉलेज की वर्षा करने वाली है अपने सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर. और उनका सब्जेक्ट है आज फॉरेन बॉडी एंड corrosive ingestion in children. She is consultant pediatric gastroenterologist, hepatology and intervention endoscopist. Ekta Institute of Child Health. Ekta Institute of Child Health, Swapnil Nursing Home, Petal Children Hospital, Gopal Hospital, Bluebird Hospital, रायपुर छत्तीसगढ़. मेरे ख्याल से सभी हॉस्पिटल में आपका जाना आना होता है.
जी सर.
12 years of practical practice in pediatric gastroenterology and intervention endoscopy. Invited faculty in various national and regional forum. Publication in Index Journal. Authorized chapter in textbook of pediatric gastroenterology and hepatology. Reviewer in IAP APGH. Editor, Annals of Pediatric Gastroenterology and Hepatology, Pediatric Association of India, textbook. Presently editor of ISPGHAN Journal, Annals of Pediatric Gastroenterology and Hepatology. She holds few posts: President of Raipur Academy of Pediatrics 2021, Secretary Chhattisgarh Adolescent Health Academy 2021, Secretary Women's Wing CGAP 2019 and 2021, Secretary Raipur Academy of Pediatrics 2018 and 2019, EB member East Zone Indian Society of Pediatric Gastroenterology and Hepatology 2022 and so our aim of life for the society is to update the society in various fields, from psychology to physical illness to mental illness, so that the society is updated about the what is going on around the medical field through Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Adolescent Health Academy, and Indian Medical Association. Your suggestion, comments are always welcome. If you like our channel, you can subscribe it so that you are updated directly without information. I welcome Dr. Rimjim Srivastava for her lucid talk, and she is going to update you about the new topic, foreign body and corrosive ingestion, which is very common in spite of awareness in our country. Welcome, Rimjim ji.
Thank you, sir. At the outset, I must say that I'm very much honored and delighted to be on your show. And very good evening to all the viewers.
So you can share your slide.
Sure, sir. So, since we are talking on foreign body ingestion in children, so I just want to share my experience. So, it's visible?
Yes.
So these are few foreign bodies which I have extracted in last 10 12 years, and as you can see, most common is the coin ingestion, which is very commonly seen, and age is not the limit. Right from 6 months old to a 12-year-old can ingest a coin. Following this is the button battery ingestion. Again, age is no bar for this also. And rest you can see that there are few jewelries, hair clips, keys, magnets, safety pins, and nails, pencil. So anything which can come in front of the eyes of a child, it can be ingested. So that's what I wanted to share, sir.
So why are the foreign body and corrosive ingestion still common in children despite lot of awareness through media, print media, and electronic media
Right, sir.
and social media.
So the main reason which I feel that is that children are very inquisitive in nature, and so what, especially smaller children. So whatever comes in front of them, the first thing they do is put that in their mouth, and many times it is because of the I can say because of the parents also, like mothers. While wearing sari or something, they keep their safety pins in their mouth, and the child tries to copies that mother was keeping in the mouth, so I will put it that way only. So these are few things. There is no particular reason. In fact, I had a child who was 12 years old, big enough, and he had ingested a watch with the batteries inside it without the strap. So a watch. It was almost 2.5 to 3 centimeter. It's very difficult to swallow a watch. So I asked that child what actually happened, and the answer he gave me was a very vague thing, that I was sleeping on the bed in the bed and it just dropped in my mouth and I did not know what to do and I just gulped it down. So
Mm.
why they ingest is not known actually. But yeah, I think vague reasons are there for that, and yes, they keep these things in their mouth. So sometimes to pacify the child, parents give coins to the child, and they play while keeping it in the mouth, and then while laughing or coughing they swallow it. Yeah.
You have shown so many articles in the first slide.
Right, sir.
There are the articles. So
Right, sir.
why the batteries are so dangerous than the coins?
Yes, sir. Batteries are very dangerous because battery contains alkali. And when battery is inside the esophagus, because the diameter of esophagus is very small, so when both the negative and positive ends come together, there is leakage of the alkali inside the esophagus. And that's why this leakage can lead to burn. I would like to share two videos, and you'll understand that what. So, just is it visible, sir?
No. Yes.
Yeah. So, this is the video of a coin in esophagus. And with this video, I would also like to convey the message that endoscopy is a very safe procedure. Most of the
Mhm.
times, I have received patient who were told that okay, there is eaten coin, you eat banana and it'll come out. But many times it is not the case and gets stuck in the inside the esophagus for weeks also, and that can lead to ulceration also. So this is a coin which was in the esophagus, and it was very easily removed from the esophagus. The child was discharged after 6 hours, the moment he came out of the anesthesia. Of course, we anesthetize the child, and it is very safe, painless procedure for a child. So with this, you can see that see the mucosa. What? How is the mucosa of the
Mm.
esophagus? Is
Yeah.
pink. Pink mucosa is there, and it is very easily removed without any sequelae, without
Yeah.
any
It is
consequences.
coming out very smoothly.
Yes, sir. Very smoothly it comes out. So if the child presents to us earlier after ingestion, then it's very easy to remove without any consequences.
Mhm.
Vis-a-vis, if we you see this one, this is a button battery injection, and this child came within 1 hour of injection of button battery, and within an hour endoscopy was done. Then you'll see the mucosa. The
Yeah.
button battery has leaked actually, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is called
It's
burn.
all burned there.
Very severe burn was there inside the esophagus, and
Yeah.
though we had no alternative but to remove, though at times it can become adventurous also, because there are case reports that it can lead to full thickness perforation, and it can also lead to perforation in the aorta also. So while removing the
Mhm.
battery, there can be severe bleed also. So
Mhm.
ideally, if it is more than 2 or 3 days old button battery, then a CT scan should be done before endoscopy to make sure that there is no
Mhm.
fistula formation, and then only it should be removed. So
Mhm.
this child, you can see that after removal, how is the esophagus now?
Mhm.
There was severe burn was there. Thankfully, it was not a circumferential burn. The
Okay.
child came out of it and it healed later on, and there was no stitcher
Mhm.
formation. But
Mhm.
yes, so because of the presence of alkali, we have I'll just stop sharing. So because of the presence of alkali, it is very difficult at times to manage these cases, because that can lead to perforation.
Mhm. How quickly button can cause serious injury?
So it depends on the charge of the battery. If it is a new battery, it can leak within 15 minutes also. And if it is a older battery, since if it almost discharged, that it may not leak also. It can also happen that the button battery is there for 2 to 4 hours and it has not leaked. But if it is a new battery, it will definitely leak, and the time will depend on how much charge is left inside the battery.
Yeah. How much time we can wait?
So for button battery, if it is in the esophagus, it should be removed immediately. That is as
Mhm.
soon as possible, because it can leak within 10 to 15 minutes of ingestion. So it should be, so it will actually depend on whether the button battery is in the esophagus or in the stomach or has crossed the stomach. If it is the
Mhm.
esophagus, it should be removed immediately as soon as possible. If it is in the stomach and the child is more than 5 years, then we can wait for 1 or 2 days, because stomach is a big size organ,
Yeah.
and there is the phenomena that takes place in the esophagus, that both the ends come together, does not happen in the stomach. But it can also
Yeah.
lead to injury in the stomach if it is there for more than 24 to 48 hours. But we can safely wait for 24 to 48 hours in case of the button battery in the stomach. If it is crossed stomach, then less likely that it is going to cause any injury, because there are food particles or stool is there. So almost in 80 to 90% of cases, it will come out through the stool without injuring. So if it is
Mhm.
crossed pylorus, we can wait and wait for the it to come out in the stool. That generally comes within 2 to 3 days.
Mm. So why magnet injection considered in an emergency?
Yes, sir. Magnet. Another thing is there. I'll just again share my slide.
These are all practical issues,
Yes.
in pediatric gastroenterology practice and in even with a general pediatrician.
Yes, sir. So, magnet, what happens in magnet, that if there is single magnet, then it works as an any, like what is the main dictum is that if the size of the foreign body is less than 2.5 centimeter, it is, if it is a smooth rounded like a marble or a
Mm.
capsule, if it is smooth and rounded, then, and if it is less than 2.5 centimeter, then it will not cause any harm, and most likely it will come out of the stomach and through the intestine in the through the stool. So
Mm.
in case of a rounded unsharp body which is less than 2.5 centimeter,
Mm.
we can leave that inside, and it can come out within 3 to 5 days. Now, what happens in a magnet, if the magnet is small in size and single magnet is there, then it will not cause any harm. But if it is a double magnet, that is more than one magnet is there, then it is definitely going to lead cause some problem. Like in this case, so you can see that there are two magnets.
Mhm.
So if you
Yeah.
see the X-ray, you'll say that it is in the stomach, but this is not in the stomach. One is in the stomach, and another one is in the intestine.
Okay.
And this was neodymium magnet, that the colorful new magnet which are very small in size. which are usually seen in the toys. They are very small, around 1 to 2 in size, but
Hmm.
they are very strong, up to 5 times stronger than the conventional magnet which earlier we used to have. So now you can see that there are two layers of mucosa in between, but still they are stuck together. So one is in the stomach and another one is in the small intestine. Now both are them are stuck together, and this will lead to necrosis and perforation. So if there is single magnet, if the size is less than 2.5 centimeter, rounded, smooth, it will come out. So no need to worry if there is single magnet. But if there are two magnets, whatever size is there, even the smallest of the magnets, if there are two magnets, this is going to cause injury. Like in this case, you can see that this one is in the stomach and another one was in the intestine, and that led to perforation. So
Oh,
two magnets are definitely an like red flag. One magnet smaller in size, it will not cause any harm. But if it is more than 2.5 centimeter, it may not negotiate pylorus, and you need to remove it as is with the other any other object. But if it is non-sharp small, then you can wait. Single magnet, you can wait.
hmm. So what is the role of a pediatrician, as you are consultant in gastroenterology, pediatric gastroenterology?
Right, sir.
But but a patient usually run first to his pediatrician.
Right, sir.
So what is his role?
Yes, sir. So if it is, they can themselves assess what is the need of endoscopy or not. Suppose if there is a coin is in the esophagus, then the child will need immediate removal. And if it is in the stomach, then you can wait for 1 or 2 days very safely, and then you can do the x-ray. If it is still in the stomach, then it needs removal. If the coin has crossed pylorus, then it will come out whether in 7 days or 10 days, or I've seen in 6 months also, it will come out without harming. If we go by literature, there is only one case of coin causing obstruction, that too in a western country where their scent is larger than our coin. That they coin, so that
Yes.
cause obstruction at the ileocecal junction. Our coin will not cause obstruction at ileocecal junction. If it is crossed pylorus, it will come out if the child is not having stricture. If it is button battery, if it is in esophagus, it should be removed immediately. If it is in the stomach, we can wait for 24 to 48 hours. If it has crossed stomach, then we have to wait and watch whether it will come out or not. If it is any sharp object like nail, safety pin, hair clip, etc., their blade, uh, or any size any object which is more than 2.5 to 3 centimeter, it is not going to come out of it, and it is going to lead to obstruction or any perforation if it is left that way. If the child is lucky, I have seen child passing 4 centimeter of nail also, 4 5 centimeters of hair clip also, but they were lucky, I think. So if we can catch these things before causing harm, that would be better. And so, unless and until it is decided whether the child will require endoscopy or not, child should be kept nil orally. Because I'll show you one video also, that because if the child is nil orally, we can do endoscopy immediately. We don't have to wait. But also, guidelines say that if there is sharp object, button battery is there, or magnets are there, that is an emergency thing is there, then we don't have to wait for the child to remain NPO, because that will waste time. But then the risk of aspiration becomes higher during anesthesia. So unless
Hmm.
and until it is decided whether the child is will require or not, endoscopy will be required or not, child should be kept nil orally. I'll show another video just to tell this, because so this was a child who ingested a nail, and somebody told him that you eat banana and it'll come out, but it did not come out even after 2 days. Child came with full stomach, and so much banana was there that it is very difficult. Now this is the stomach full of banana, Now, it is very difficult to wash this thick banana and suck it through the endoscope because the lumen of the endoscope suction is very small. So, after almost half an hour of suctioning, we could see the nail over there, and then it was removed. So, it not only increases the anesthesia time, but at times it may happen that we will not find, because suppose a small neodymium magnet is there, which is very small. It is very difficult to fish that magnet from this chunk of banana. So
Mhm.
they should be kept nil orally until it is decided whether endoscopy is required or not.
I still remember in 53 years of practice, my practice, the things has in medical field has advanced so much that we in foreign body injection in my practice, we used to say that banana खिलाओ 2 दिन बाद आके दिखाना and
Right.
keep on watching when the child goes for toilet.
Right.
And then they used to inform us on the landline phone number that अंकल वो
बाहर आ गया.
बाहर आ गया अब तो जमाना ही बदल गया दुनिया बदल गई
Right, sir.
and, so what substances are most commonly involved in corrosive injection at home?
Right, sir. So, corrosive, as we know, like acid, most commonly used for drain cleaners and all these things. Caustic soda used for washing. These two are very common objects, which like liquids, which are ingested by children. And the main cause for this is that they are kept in transparent Bisleri bottles or Coke bottles. It is kept within the reach of the child. So, all the ingestion which I have seen, most of them had like the child got confused that whether it is water or not, or whether it is Pepsi or not, and he drank it. And it is so harmful that even 5 ml of acid or alkali can lead to severe damage. So I'll show another video of it. So this child had gone to some cycle repair shop. Father was busy somewhere, and she was thirsty. So there was somebody who was waiting there, and child was asking for water, and there was something kept beside that, and he thought that the child is thirsty, so I'll give this, and that was actually acid.
Oh,
So a 3-year-old child, she actually, like by mistake, she ingested acid.
accidental poisoning.
Yeah.
Like an accidental poisoning.
Yeah, accidental voice. Most of them are accidental only. So you can
Hmm.
see that this is the oropharynx. This is the vocal cord. Right from even a small amount, like, since it is
Hmm.
bitter taste, child spit it immediately. But there was severe edema in the oropharynx, in the laryngeal area. This is the esophagus. Child had severe ulcerations, edema. These are all edematous. Slough formation was there. This is in the esophagus. Slough formation there. There was a severe necrosis in the stomach. You can see the blood is coming in the esophagus. There's so much blood. Child was having hematemesis, and this is the ischa formation because of the necrosis. This is the severe burn in the stomach, which you can
Hmm.
see. So even 5, or at the most, she must have taken 5 to 10 ml, and that caused severe burn up to the second part of duodenum.
Hmm.
So this is the stomach area. You can see how severely it was burned, and this is the duodenum. So first part of the duodenum, and inside is the second part. So severe burn was there. So in such cases, what we do is we need to do an urgent endoscopy to assess the severity and extent of the burn. So this child had burn up to the second part of the duodenum. Now, to establish feeding, we need to put nasoduodenal or nasojejunal tube, because this is going to take at least 3 to 4 weeks to heal. You can see that the
Hmm.
almost second, third part of duodenum is normal. This is the guide wire through which feeding tube is inserted. Now I am withdrawing the endoscope after putting the guide wires. You can see how severe and what is the extent of the burn, only with 5 to 10 ml of acid. So what we need to do is to put a feeding tube so that the healing can happen clearly, and the
Yes,
child
sir.
for the next 3 weeks child will have feeding established through the tube. There's
Mhm.
no way we can stop the already injuries. What has been done is done. We cannot stop it, or we cannot do anything. At the most, syrup sucral or honey in some they say that it is helpful. So but an endoscopy is a must after any corrosive ingestion, so that we know the extent and severity, and then that will guide our management.
So why the child look in early phase good, but later there is a problem.
Right, sir. So what happens most of the time, if the like in this child, what happened that she had ingested it, so there was no oral edema, no oral ulceration was there. The child was by looking at clinically, child was fine. So, but when she started having hematemesis, then the parents got alarmed that what has happened. So the child may look normal. They externally they may not be any ulceration or anything. But if you scope the child, you'll find that there is severe ulceration and edema. So if you and it the as if ulceration is there after healing, it may take a stricture. It may lead to stricture formation. That takes place after 2 to 3 weeks. So for the next 2 to 3 weeks, child will be all right. If the child has not been scoped, if you don't know what is the extent of the injury, child will be fine. But after 2 to 3 weeks, if the stricture has formed, then the child will start having obstructive signs. So even if you don't know, even if there is suspicion of corrosive ingestion, a endoscope should be done, so that you are clear for the next 2 to 3 weeks. You are clear whether you need to do anything or not after that.
That shows that endoscopy is a must
Yes, sir.
uh, because you don't know कि whether there is injury inside due to corrosive poisoning or not. No.
Right, sir.
Is there anything
And another
pediatrician can
important.
give before referring?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Is anything pediatrician can give before referring?
Yes, sir. So before referring, they can give Sukral, or they can give in more than 1 year old children, they can give honey also. To some extent, it may decrease the burn, but there's no as such study that it will lead to healing or something, and it is not an alternative to any endoscopy or anything. If the burn has occurred, then we have to wait for the healing. At the most, Sukral or PPIs can help in reducing the burn, further damage. But what the damage has been done. And also, I'd like to point here, sir, another important thing, that endoscope is also important. That if we insert a nasogastric or nasoduodenal tube, and the stricture is to occur, so there will be small lumen left around the tube. So it is almost 1 to 2 lumen is left if the sewerage stricture is to happen. So this lumen is very important for dilatation. So if the child has a stricture formation is there, so after 3 to 4 weeks, it can be easily dilated through that thing. I'll share another picture. So this child, I had inserted nasoduodenal tube, but she removed it. And what actually happened that in this child, not only she developed stricture in the esophagus. This is the lumen of the esophagus. So only that much lumen is remaining, that which is equal to the diameter of the feeding tube. So only this, but this is sufficient for dilatation. But what happened that because of the severe burn in the stomach, and there was no tube in the stomach because she had removed it, the stomach became like a sac. There was no opening in the stomach because it healed completely. And most of the time, this happens. Now, the only resort she was left was surgery. So she had to undergo actually jejunal gastrostomy was required, but little difficult because the whole of the duodenum had to be removed, and so she developed stricture also. And even if there was an only a stricture, it could have been managed. But since the stomach became like a sac, she had to undergo surgery.
So coming to the things that ingestion complication appear when they appear actually.
Right, sir. So, if we talk about sharp foreign bodies, then it can perforate any time. Like I had a patient who had a ceftriaxone injection, and it was in the stomach. By the time they were from far place, so by the time they reached here, the ceftriaxone had perforated the esophagus and had caused pneumomediastinum. It was mild pneumomediastinum was there. We removed the ceftriaxone, and so it was okay after that. So if sharp object is there, it can lead to perforation anytime.
Mhm.
Button battery, it can leak anytime, and it can cause severe damage, also cause fistula also. And if it has crossed duodenum, if it's crossed pylorus, then only time will tell what when when it is going to cause any
Yeah,
complication. Yeah.
yeah. So what single message should every pediatrician should remember about the ingestion emergencies?
Right, sir. So if it is a small foreign body, round, non-sharp, then we can safely wait. But anything in the esophagus needs to be removed, whether it is small or large, because there is a chance of aspiration also. If it is a sharp foreign body, whatever size is there, you should definitely consult, and if required, endoscopy should be done. And unless and until it is decided whether endoscopy is required or not, child should be kept nil orally. And a very important thing also is there that patients, parents, rely on their primary physician, primary pediatrician more than anybody else. So if the primary pediatrician has said that endoscopy is required, then they will get it done. If they say that okay नहीं केला खा लो या थोड़ी दिन वेट कर लेते हैं, then no amount of counseling is going to change their mind. So sometimes it has happened that if the pediatrician has said नहीं नहीं निकल आएगा देखो वेट करके देखते हैं, so it's very difficult to counsel them that you should get it done immediately, and then like many times consequences are also seen.
It is a case of actually primary trust and the secondary trust
Right.
between the patient and the doctors.
Right, sir.
So when in doubt, what is the safest immediate action?
Sent to the pediatric gastroenterologist, sir.
There is no way out. So you have shown very beautiful videos and that shows your experience and on experience of your in Raipur. And I'm sure that all the pediatricians of Indian Academy of Pediatrics should watch it and learn few things from Dr. Imjim Srivastav and a great work she's doing. Uh, I bless her with excellent future as a pediatric gastroenterologist, endoscopist, and I really enjoyed.
Thank you, sir. Same
Uh,
here.
I think the what we have seen as a general pediatrician, then adolescent physician, counselor, the things are changing in our country, and lot of new facilities are available in our countries, and we should utilize rather than fixing our mind to something कि देखो करो वेट करो
Right.
जमाना चला गया है we should be quick to save the life. The life is more important. It comes once, forever, and gone forever. So, with this dialogue, thank you so much, Dr. Rimjim ji, कि
Thank
आप
you,
आए और आपने यूएस पे टाइम फॉर डॉक्टर टुटेया टॉक शो. उम्मीद करता हूँ कि हमारे व्यूअर्स उनको मदद करेंगे और अपने पेशेंट को भी मदद करेंगे और चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब करेंगे और उनके जो भी कमेंट्स हों वो लिखें और कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो तो डॉक्टर रिमझिम श्रीवास्तव से कांटेक्ट करें. शी इज IIP लाइफ मेंबर and very well known in Chhattisgarh. Thank you so much being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an honor, sir. Thank you, sir.